Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. With I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Better Off Dead, Thursday, October 16th. 1-0 on the show yesterday. We gave out the Toronto Blue Jays. We got an easy win on the Toronto Blue Jays. I think they were down 2-0 in the first inning, and then, boy, they unloaded offensively after that. And, they were basically only behind for that brief moment and then wound up with a huge win. I think they took a 12-2 lead, right? Because they were down 2-0 early. I think 12-2 lead. They wound up winning 13-4. Easy win on the Blue Jays. That's how you like it. We move forward from that, obviously, but yeah, we've had a nice past month or so, man. We're definitely hot. Basically since football started, we've been pretty hot. Baseball playoffs have been really good too. I think I only have 1 loss in the baseball playoffs. I think I'm 5-1, something like that. 5-1-1. I'd have to go back and look at what the record is, but it's something like that. It's been good. Jeffrey, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. I'm a little bit earlier this morning. I'm not totally on schedule, but I'm close. I'm going to only have 1 play today. It's going to be in hockey. We do have all the sports that are currently in action or are in action basically tonight. As we have a decent NHL board here, although I don't love it, but it's a decent size board. We got 1 college football game, 1 NFL game, and both baseball series are in action as well. Let's get into it, man. Let's go to the breakdown. We'll start with baseball, even though I know it's crucial. It's the baseball playoffs, not only the playoffs, but the ALCS and NLCS. The ALCS, actually, we'll talk about the NLCS is the first game up. It's 6:08 p.m. Eastern on TBS, True TV, and HBO Max. You get a lot of options to watch this one. I don't know why you'd pay for HBO Max just for this, though. And if you have cable at all, you'll get the other 2 channels, TBS and True TV. So I don't know. This game's going to be a little bit difficult to gauge because Milwaukee has not decided on a starting pitcher. If you look at the way Milwaukee has run the rotation, the last time the game after Peralta, which Peralta pitched in their last game, the last time they went through the rotation that way, they used an opener, and then they used Mizurowski for 4 innings. So I'm guessing that's going to be what they do today. I think it's probably going to be, it might be a situation where the manager's going to mix and match, though. It's either going to be Mizurowski or Priester getting the majority of the usage, I think, for Milwaukee here. But my guess would be Miz because the series is on the line here. As the Dodgers are up 2-0, the series shifted to LA. I think it'll be Mizurowski. He might only go about 4 innings, though. He is a young, inexperienced pitcher, though, which might be a concern. He might be following an opener that comes in for 1 inning or something like that. We have no idea exactly what Milwaukee's going to do. It's going to be a pseudo bullpen game, though. And, I don't really love those. I know last night I really liked the starting pitching matchup for Toronto last night, in addition to the fact that they were in total desperation mode. So I liked that. With Milwaukee here, I'm not so sure that I like it, man. Even though Milwaukee was a good road team this year, best road team in baseball, I think. 45-36 on the road. Very solid road record. Dodgers were very good at home, though. 52-29 at home. Dodgers offense, very good at home. They do have the better offense. The Milwaukee's offense was actually a better road offense. Bullpen-wise, I mean, both teams were off yesterday, so the bullpens are rested pretty much, but Milwaukee does have the better of the two bullpens. But the starting pitching matchup, you got to say the Dodgers have the edge here, man. Tyler Glasnow is pitching. This Dodger rotation at this point they're probably going to win the World Series again, man. Even though I picked Seattle in my bracket, I have Seattle over the Dodgers in my bracket. This Dodger rotation is basically unstoppable, man. I mean, they're up 2-0 with 2 road wins, and Glasnow and Ohtani are pitching the next 2 games. I mean, that's ridiculous. Glasnow had a shortened season, or he had like a big gap in the season because he was hurt. Again, he's healthy now. He had a good overall season, 3.19 ERA, 1.1 WHIP. He was really good at home, 2.77 home ERA. He's pitched well in the playoffs so far. They kind of ramped him up. They kind of winded him down with a short start to end the season, which was against Seattle, interestingly. He didn't give up any runs in that one. He was pitching well right until the end, pretty much, except he had too many walks in a couple of the starts in the last month in September against San Francisco for whatever reason. He came into the playoffs, and he's been good. I mean, his walk rate has still been an issue, though, in the playoffs, but they kind of ramped him back up. He pitched in 2 games against the Phillies, only went 1 2/3 innings in the first one, and then 6 innings his last time out, which was the better of the 2 outings. In that one, he had 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, shut Philly out, and only allowed 2 hits. He hasn't allowed a run yet in the playoffs. He's pitching well, high strikeout rate. The only concern is 5 walks in 7 2/3 innings. That is way too many walks. 10 strikeouts, really good, but he's got to get that command back in order here. I think he can, though. I mean, he's definitely a really good pitcher, a veteran pitcher. His numbers are good against Milwaukee, too, in 71 at-bats, 26-8 strikeout walk ratio, 141 batting average allowed, him 510 OPS allowed. So he has historically been very good against Milwaukee. The money came in on the Dodgers early, up from -170 to -185 on the money line. They're at a pretty significant price here, but that's still probably the only way that I would look in this game would be towards the Dodgers to win this thing. You'd have to probably lay a run line on them, though, if you want it. Like, get them -1.5 runs or whatever to get that price down. They hit well at home. I know doing that at home isn't ideal because if they're ahead, they won't bat in the 9th inning. But I do think the Dodgers are going to win this game, man. I mean, that's the way that I see it, even though Milwaukee's going to be a very desperate underdog here. Don't want to actually give it out as a play or anything, but yeah, I just think the matchup is just too strong with the Dodgers. If you want to go first 5 inning run line, that is a way to look too because Milwaukee, their bullpen is the better bullpen. So if you can somehow get the Dodgers to be ahead at the end of 5 innings by a run or maybe even a half run, I mean, that is probably worth a look as well. Thank you, sir. Toronto, yeah, I mean, that was my favorite play of the day. And then I had the Blackhawks were almost a play for me yesterday, and I wish I did it because they won with ease yesterday. Absolute blowout Blackhawk win over the Blues yesterday. Well, thank you, sir. Toronto, I didn't really have an opinion on the total, I don't think, in that one, but I thought the total at 7 was like pretty ridiculously low, actually, I guess, but I don't think I really had that strong of an opinion on that. My strong opinion was definitely on Toronto, but yes, thank you, sir. I'm glad I was correct about that. And we do have that series continuing, Toronto at Seattle. The slump discontinuing for Toronto after yesterday. They had a really good game, won 13-4. Don't know if it's really going to continue here, though. I mean, I wasn't sure about Seattle scoring in that one, to be honest. I mean, you needed them to basically score against Toronto's bullpen if Toronto was not going to, like, put up a ton of runs in that game, although they did. But Seattle only scored in 2 innings in the game. Like, after the first inning, they never scored again until the very end. So they really they did hardly anything against Bieber, which was kind of my concern with that total. In this game, Toronto at Seattle, again, of course, we do have some bullpen usage to look at here. Seattle used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Toronto also used 3. Some of the better relievers are still available. Like Toronto's back end is basically Dominguez and Hoffman. They're both still available here. Seattle, because it was a blowout, so no high leverage relief men really came in. Seattle's still got Munoz, a.k.a. Senior Smoke, and Bizardo, I think is kind of their closer-ish, I believe. So those guys are still available today. So high leverage arms available. Seattle does have the better of the two bullpens. Toronto has the better offense, but Seattle is good at home, remember. The Blue Jays are not very good on the road, 40-41. Seattle 51-30 at home. I mean, I know I went against that with the play yesterday, but this game, Toronto, I mean, with basically the series on the line, they're going with Max Scherzer on the mound. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen here. Yeah, he's a veteran. He's very experienced, but he is pretty much at the end of his career here, man. He did not wind up having a very good season. 5.19 ERA, 1.29 whip. He pitched well for a while, and then it seemed like he just really wore down, even though he didn't throw that many innings this year. I think just age kind of catching up to him. He couldn't really go the full season. They've given him some rest for that reason, so maybe he'll come out and actually pitch well again because he's had rest, but I don't know, man. He was bad on the road, 5.91 road ERA. Even though, yes, this is a pitcher-friendly park, he was very bad in the month of September with a 10.2 ERA. Hasn't pitched now since September 24th, so they've given him a lot of time off to try to, they're basically trying to rest him so that he can give them something in the playoffs, and this is the chance for him to do that, but we'll see, man. His strikeout walk ratio was still actually fairly good in September. Not great, but decent in September. 20-7 strikeout walk ratio. Not elite anymore, but okay. His numbers against Seattle are not terrible. In 54 at-bats, 18-3 strikeout walk ratio, 204 average allowed, 690 OPS, higher than you'd expect with that average being that low. He's allowed 4 home runs to them, 2 from Suarez, although Suarez is only 3 for 19 off him with 9 strikeouts. So it's like Suarez either takes him yard or strikes out pretty much against him. High variance batter there from Suarez. It's hard to gauge what Scherzer is going to do in this game, man. I mean, I'm almost sort of leaning towards him not doing that well here. He's going up against Luis Castillo, who is the younger pitcher here and had a more consistent season. He's been the more consistent pitcher just recently as well. 3.54 ERA, 1.18 whip. Really good at home, 2.6 home ERA. He pitched twice in the Detroit series. I think he pitched in relief in the 15-inning game, so that's the last time we saw him. He didn't give up any runs over 6 innings pitched in that series. He only gave up 1 hit when he pitched in that series, but he also walked 4 guys and had 4 strikeouts. He's going to have to get that walk number down, but with him, he usually has pretty good command, so I'm not as concerned about that. Against Toronto, his numbers are just mediocre, though, in 133 at-bats. 32-6 strikeout walk ratio is definitely good, but 256 average, I mean, that's not horrible either. 739 OPS, a little bit on the getting into the higher-ish range there. He's allowed 5 home runs to them to 5 different batters, I believe, so I'm just going to stay away from the game, man. I mean, I think if you're looking at current form and whatever, and that matters, and I think Seattle does have the edge here. They also have the better bullpen. So if you're going to go with Seattle, I think full game does make sense. You're getting a decent price on it. They're down from -132 to -120. 51% of tickets are on Toronto because the public, they start shifting to what they saw last, and they saw Toronto winning a blowout yesterday. So now the public wants Toronto a lot more than they did yesterday, even though it does still seem like the sort of, in general, the public is kind of like, yeah, I don't know if we want Max Scherzer here, but also he has so much name recognition behind him. He's going to be like in the Hall of Fame, so people are still like, oh, well, Scherzer's pitching. Like, maybe it does make sense to take him as an underdog. I would lean towards Seattle in the game. They do have 58% of the cash now as well. That's the way that I see it. I think Seattle's going to win the series. I think this game is huge, obviously. Like, Seattle doesn't really want to have to be tied 2-2 and have to go back to Toronto. Although the next game will also be in Seattle, I believe. I think it's a 2-3-2 series. But Seattle does not want to be in a 2-2 game, I wouldn't imagine, even though, yes, they'll have one more shot at home if that happens, to try to send it back to Toronto up 3-2 if that's what happens. So that's not really ideal for them, obviously. So I would lean to Seattle in that one. teams score in the first inning and then no more. Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, sometimes a pitcher is just shaky really early on. I mean, Bieber with him, maybe it's just because, I don't know, I think he had, well, no, he pitched once in the playoffs already this year. Right? I was going to say maybe just because he hadn't pitched in the playoffs like in a long time. I don't know. I don't really get it. Public are basically the squares. Yeah, that's true. Usually I'm looking to go against what their sentiment is. NHL, I will have one play in the NHL here. I'm going to not touch every game here, but I'm going to talk about some of the bigger games. All these games are in the evening. The Rangers at Toronto. The Rangers probably glad to be on the road here because they have not scored a goal at home yet, which is unbelievable to me because they're really not this bad. But they're, I believe they're 2-0 on the road, so they're probably pretty happy to go on the road, although the only teams they've beaten were Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and those are not good teams. We'll see what happens with the Rangers, man. I mean, they do have a new coach here, so they're dealing with a new system. Probably, growing pains in order, as far as that's concerned. Coming off a big game against Edmonton, though, where they played still pretty close, but it's still pretty embarrassing. I mean, they only lost 2-0, but it's still pretty embarrassing to get shut out in 3 straight home games like this, even though Edmonton and Washington are both pretty good. Edmonton, not known as a defensive team, so I don't really know what went on in that game. Maybe good for the Rangers to get out of there and go on the road, just forget about what's happening at home, not listen to the news media. You go on the road, they're going to be focused for this game. It's against Toronto. Toronto's been one of the better teams in hockey recently, and they're just a big name in hockey. This is an original 6 matchup as well, I believe. So it's a big game. I think for both teams, though, and Toronto is staying at home, and they do kind of have some momentum. They just had an easy win last time out against Nashville, 7-4. Their number 1 goalie, Stolars, will be back in net this time because they used Primo in that Nashville game, which is part of the reason why they allowed so many goals, I would say. So it sets up decently for both teams. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. The money is saying Toronto. They're down from -150 to -145, but the Rangers, surprisingly, are getting the public action. It looks like 61% of tickets, although, again, with hockey, the public isn't like really involved in hockey necessarily, although this game is probably going to be one of the more publicly bet games on the hockey board with 2 big-name teams. 72% of the cash, though, on Toronto. I mean, that's what the market is saying. That would probably be what I would default to as an opinion just for that reason. But I don't know, man. I do think you're going to see kind of an angry Ranger team here at the very least. But they just haven't done anything impressive so far. So, I don't know. Difficult to read. Unders in the Red Wings game. I don't even know what happened in that game. I think what do we have with the Red Wings? I don't even remember. Oh, yeah. They won 4-1. So that probably went under or pushed on the total. I would imagine. I think there were 2 empty net goals in that game, too. That's the thing about the totals that I really, really get worried about is empty net goals send a lot of games over the total that shouldn't go over. I mean, that shit is just, it's very, very dangerous, honestly, to be on unders. Like, I mean, you could say the same thing about baseball with extra innings and the stupid ghost runner, but that doesn't happen that often. Hockey, empty net goals happen so fucking often that it's like, those can just kill unders. It's just, oh my God. So if you saw me last year, I think I pretty much only played overs when I played hockey totals last year, and I didn't do it very often. I think I did okay. I wasn't great, but I think I was slightly up in those totals last year. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it, but it still went under the 5.5. It should have gone way under that, but the empty net goals are just ridiculous. I also thought Florida would win that game, and it was 2-1 late in the game, which... Nice segue. Well, actually, I won't segue to that yet. We'll talk about Seattle and Ottawa just because there might be something to talk about here. Seattle did just take their first loss of the season. It was in overtime against Montreal. So, I mean, Montreal, they're on the upswing, man. So, Montreal, I mean, they're a team that, like, they already have a ton of name recognition, obviously, but they're a respected team again. So, it's a big game when you go and you play Montreal again now. Seattle played 2 overtime games in a row, beating Vegas, big win, started the road trip, went into overtime again, lost to Montreal, and now they have to turn around and play Ottawa, who only has 1 win so far. They do have Toronto up next, which I think if you're going to pay attention to one of these games and have a bad game in one of these games, I think the bad game is going to come here against Ottawa because they're only a one-win team right now, even though I know they made the playoffs last year. They're not a bad team, but they might be flying a little bit under the radar right now. Seattle might be in a little bit of a hangover spot after that Montreal game. I would lean to Ottawa in this one. They'll still draw some focus, but Ottawa, they got to turn something around. They've lost 3 games in a row now, though one of them was to Florida, so you can't really blame them for that on the road. They started out with 3 road games in 4 games, so that was part of the reason why their record isn't that good. But losing to Nashville and Buffalo, both really ugly, that makes them look worse than they actually are. And remember that Buffalo game, that was yesterday. They used Merrillainen as their goalie, so Omark was not in net for that one, so it was a big downgrade for their goaltending position last night, so that's part of the reason why they allowed so many goals against a bad Buffalo team. Buffalo has finally won a game, by the way, so I had said that I thought San Jose would be the last team to win a game, even though they've gone into overtime a couple of times, and maybe that'll still be the case, I don't know. But Ottawa, pretty embarrassing. I would lean towards Ottawa here. The main issue that I really have, though, is that it's a back-to-back. They were in Buffalo last night. Now they're coming back home. I know it's not a huge travel leg there, but it's still something. They're still on a back-to-back. I know they'll have their better goalie back in net here, and he's rested, so that's a good thing for Ottawa. So that kind of negates the back-to-back a little bit, but of course their skaters all had to play yesterday, so it's still a back-to-back. They're playing a 3rd game in 4 days, 4th game in 6 days, where they've zigzagged all over the place. Like, they were in Florida on Saturday, back home, Buffalo, now back home again. Don't quite want to do it, but I do think Ottawa is the way that I would lean in this game if I was going to do anything with it. But the money is disagreeing with that. Ottawa's down from -150 to -145. 87% of tickets on them. 74% of the cash coming in at Seattle. So the market read is saying Seattle. I don't agree with it. So yeah, I would lean to Ottawa in that one, but I certainly don't want to make it a play. Under in the Oilers, plus leaning towards the Oilers. I could talk about that game. I didn't really have much of an opinion on it. Florida and the Devils. The Devils. This is an interesting one, man. Florida, they're on a back-to-back, as we know. They played last night. Bobrovsky was back in net, so will they use him on a back-to-back? They might, because, he's their better goalie. They used Tarasov in the game prior to that, the game that they lost to Philadelphia, which, by the way, was very misleading because they gave up 2 empty net goals in that one. They also gave up 2 empty net goals last night. So Florida, they're better than they look right now, but it is a back-to-back. It is the 3rd road game in 4 days, which is a pretty difficult spot to be in, and 4th game in 6 days, all in different cities. So that's something you look at in hockey, NBA, whatever, when you see like a jammed schedule like that, it's usually not a good thing. So some conflicting factors going on in this game. I think Florida is not anywhere near as bad as they looked in those last couple of games, but it is still a difficult spot for them. And for New Jersey, New Jersey's going to show up against Florida. Both of these teams I think are going to show up here. New Jersey, this is actually their home opener. They played 3 road games to start the season, and yes, that does mean they're returning home from a road trip, which usually is a distracted spot. But do you think they're going to be distracted when they've had multiple days off? They're at home. It's their home opener, and it's the returning champions coming to play them. I think New Jersey's going to be focused here. So I think the scheduling setup is a lot better for New Jersey. They went up from -137 to -155. 63% of tickets on New Jersey, though, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, really. I don't see why the public would be on that side, but 73% of the cash coming in on Florida. I don't really get it. I would slightly lean to New Jersey in that game, but, I don't want to play it, obviously. It's a stay away from me in that one, but I don't know. I don't want to do anything with it. Fading Florida all season. They're injured. The injuries are factored into the line, though. And I think injuries don't matter as much in hockey unless it's like such a bad cluster injury situation they just can't overcome it. But Florida, to me, I still think they're one of the better teams, even though the odds makers are telling you New Jersey is the better team here. But Florida, I don't think they're going to win another Stanley Cup, but they're still a very good team, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm only looking to fade them in in spots where you want to fade them, because they're probably going to be overvalued at some points because they are back-to-back defending champs. But like last year, they were actually extremely undervalued going into the playoffs, which is kind of crazy because they were the returning champs, and I picked them to win the whole thing in my bracket, which was correct. You think they're going to win at Buffalo? Yeah, I mean, Buffalo sucks, but Buffalo did finally get a win. I don't know. I'll have to see how the situation sets up in that one, see if I have any sort of opinion on it. Edmonton is at the Islanders. This is a weird game. I think you have Edmonton. Edmonton doesn't have any regulation losses. They're 2-0-1. The Islanders are 0-3. But I think the Islanders are better than their record looks. Edmonton is coming off a shutout of the Rangers. I'm going to disagree with Edmonton in this game. I mean, they're coming off a couple of big games. They had a nice game against Vancouver to bounce back from that loss that we had correct on my show against Calgary. We had Calgary in that game. Calgary's not a good team, but I like the spot. Edmonton bounced back from that and won 2 games after that. But they just beat the Rangers in New York. And when you go to New York, you know the Rangers are going to be the team that draws more of your focus than the Islanders. Even if the Rangers are looking like they're a little bit down right now, teams just overlook the Islanders, man. That's just the way that it is. And they do have New Jersey up next, and then Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal. So in this whole slate of games here, if they're going to overlook one of these games, I think it's going to be this one against the Islanders. The Islanders don't have a win yet. I think they're better than this winless record would tell you that they are. They should have won that opener. I'm not just because I gave it out as a play, but they outplayed Pittsburgh in that first game, and I honestly don't even know how they lost that game. Then they lost to Washington and Winnipeg, and if you remember, those were the top 2 teams record-wise in the NHL last year in their respective conferences. Winnipeg won the President's Trophy. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of shame in losing those games, although I know they lost both of them at home, but those are 2 good teams. Now they get Edmonton coming in. They've had multiple days off, which I think is a good thing when you get a break while you're not playing well. It kind of helps you fix shit that's going wrong, almost like a bye. So I think that's good. The Islanders have a rest advantage here. They're staying at home. Oilers, I know they're just traveling within New York right now, but coming off another big win with 1 day off. Don't know if they're going to go Skinner again in this game or if they might use Pickard in this one and then use Skinner again against New Jersey. Don't know what they're going to do, but I mean, you know me, I don't love really either of the goaltenders that the Oilers have. I'm going to lean to the Islanders in this game. The public is all on Edmonton, 77% of tickets, only 75% of the cash. The money line has dropped from -170 to -168. I'm almost considering wanting to make this a play, to be honest. I like the Islanders in this one. I mean, they're going to be hungry, try to get that first win. I'll stay off, but it's close. It is definitely close. I mean, the Islanders, you're getting a really nice price at home on them. I think they're pretty undervalued at this point. So, I would go with the Islanders in that game. The money is coming in on the under for what it's worth. The total did go up a little bit from 5.5 to 6. 60% of tickets on the over, 73% of the cash on the under, though. I don't even know if I like that. I know it's public perception, but I still think you're looking at 2 teams that are decent at scoring, in my opinion, and their goaltending is a little bit questionable. So, I don't know, man. But I think the strongest look in that game is the Islanders' side. Vancouver at Dallas, pretty big game here. Dallas is a pretty big favorite. Vancouver, not as good as they once were at this point. And Dallas, maybe the best team in hockey, to be honest. They've won 3 games out of the gate against Winnipeg and Colorado on the road, and then against Minnesota. I mean, all pretty good teams. Minnesota's the weakest team that played so far. They're staying at home here. Vancouver usually is a team that will draw your attention, at least because it is still the name, the Vancouver Canucks. But Vancouver, I think they're going to be focused on this. They've had multiple days off to recover from a loss to St. Louis, which I think was kind of in a bad spot after they had to return home off of a loss in Edmonton. Vancouver went with their second-string goalie in that game in Lankinen, so it'll be Demko back in net for them here, I would imagine. They get to start a road trip here. You know they're going to be focused on Dallas. So I think focus-wise, it sets up a little bit better for Vancouver, in my opinion. Dallas is very public, 96% of tickets, 99% of the cash, probably not accurate. Down from -190 to -185. I would just have a slight lean on Vancouver, maybe take them puck line or something like that. My Boston Bruins are having to go to Vegas. This will be their first road game of the season, I think. Or no, they played at Washington, my mistake. This is their first time traveling out of the Eastern time zone. They just lost. And a lot of times, if you take your first loss of the season, it can hang you over into the next game. Maybe it won't here because they may be focused to start a road trip. They've had multiple days off to kind of forget about that loss, focus on this game. Vegas is a good team, so they should be focused on them. Bruins actually used Korpisalo again in that last game, which I did not expect them to do. Probably part of the reason they lost, to be honest, against Tampa Bay, and we only got the money line portion of that game right. Should have gone with the regulation play on Tampa Bay in that one. Bruins will have Swayman back in net in this one. Vegas, I assume, will have Aiden Hill back in net. He's their top goalie, but I don't know how good he really is, to be honest. They've alternated between him and Schmid so far, and they're actually returning home from a road trip, but they went to San Jose, Seattle, and then they went all the way up to Calgary, and they're returning home from that with only one day off. So they are returning home from a road trip where they've been away from home for like a week. So it is kind of a return home spot. They only have another game against Calgary up next, though, so it's not like a huge look ahead or anything like that. But it is a return home spot. So I actually think the spot sets up a little bit better for the Bruins in this game. Vegas, huge favorite, as the Bruins still getting a lot of disrespect in the market, and some of it is definitely warranted. I don't think the Bruins are as good as their record looks. I don't think they're as bad as people projected them to be, though. Vegas up from -210 to -220, 64% of tickets on them, 68% of the cash coming in on the Bruins. So the money is coming back in on the Bruins against that huge line there. If you take the Bruins, it would be a puck line play on that one, I would say. So we'll see what happens in that game. And then there was one other game where a team was returning home from a road trip. Was it this LA game? Let me see. Yeah, so the LA Kings here, I think they might be in a bad spot as well. They're returning home from a road trip, but they went to shootouts in 2 of the games against Vegas and Minnesota and lost to Winnipeg by 1 as well. So they had 3 one-goal games, one-score games, returning home from a road trip, but they do have 2 days off. Although sometimes when you have multiple days off, you kind of get settled back in at home. So I think it is kind of a bad spot, though, even though they've only played 1 home game so far. They're still looking for their first home win. So it gives me a little bit of pause on this one, but they might look ahead, too. I mean, Pittsburgh, not really a team that's going to draw much focus, to be honest, at this point. And they got Carolina up next, who's one of the best teams in the East. So it looks like a bit of a sandwich spot in addition to being a return home spot. So a lot of times I would give this out as a play. I'm not going to do it here, but I'm tempted to do it. Pittsburgh is already out in the LA area, too. So they were in Anaheim 2 nights ago. They lost to Anaheim, who's not a good team. So Pittsburgh not traveling much between Anaheim and LA, just 30 minutes up the road. And probably looking to play better here, looking to bounce back a little bit here. Probably they're going to go with Silovs in net because they're just alternating between their 2 goalies. And I don't think either of them are any good, so something to consider there, but I do lean to Pittsburgh in this one. The money looks like it's coming in on LA, though, even though they're down from -210 to -200. 78% of tickets, 96% of the cash on LA. I don't agree with it. I would be looking towards taking Pittsburgh on the puck line. And then we do have one best bet, which you might know what it is already because I already kind of said that I was looking to do this. This is the only play of the day. It's going to be Winnipeg on the money line, -135. I know it's a little bit of a price to be laying on the road, but I think Winnipeg is a significantly better team than the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers, the record doesn't look bad right now, 1-1-1. Looks pretty good that they only lost to Florida by 1 goal, lost in overtime to Carolina, both on the road. Those are good teams, and then they beat Florida last time out. But I talked about that game, man, and I said it was a misleading result. I mean, we had 2 empty net goals at the end for Philly, and Florida absolutely dominated the game, like physically at least. They had way more hits, and they won the face-off battle and the shot percentages and the shot total as well. So the game wasn't really what it appeared on the scoreboard. I think it's a letdown spot for Philly, even though I know Winnipeg is a good team that will draw your focus, but I just don't know if a bad team like Philly can kind of maintain that effort multiple games in a row. They will probably have Vladar in net again here because they've had multiple days off. But I think when you have multiple days off and you're coming off that huge win over the returning champs in your home opener, I think you're just kind of sitting there like kind of, basking in it a little bit, maybe too much. Whereas Winnipeg, I mean, they're not off to an amazing start. They're 2-1 right now. They lost their opener to Dallas, but they were able to take care of the other 2 teams they played, LA and the Islanders. They've had 2 days off as well, and they're only going from New York to Philly, so it's not a huge travel leg for them either. I think they got some momentum right now. I don't think they're really going to overlook this game because, I mean, they're not coming off a big game. They don't have a big game up next against Nashville. So I think they're just going to play through with momentum. And Hellebuck will be back in net here as well because they used Comrie in the last game, backup goalie in net there, and won that game too. So you'll get a rested Hellebuck in this one too. We're going to go with Winnipeg here. The money's disagreeing with me. Fuck the market. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. Sometimes I'm going to disagree with the market. Winnipeg's down for minus 137, minus 133. 60% of tickets on them, 89% of the cash of Philadelphia. Like I said, I don't agree with it. I think Winnipeg is the right side. Maybe you could wait. You might get a little bit of a better number on Winnipeg because it looks like the actual money's driving this line down. But I think Winnipeg is the right side, and that is my only play today. New coach for the Flyers. Yeah, I mean, a new coach, sometimes when they're coming in, though, like, there's, like, growing pains and stuff like that. You know, you have to learn the new coach's system and whatever, and sometimes it is not a good thing right away. But, I mean, we'll see. I still don't think Philadelphia's a good team, though. All right, we'll go to college football. We have one game here in college football, which I think I kind of disagree with the market in this one, too. It's Tulsa and East Carolina. And, yeah, I was definitely not right about those games last night, by the way. I thought Delaware would put up a better showing there, which it looks like they kind of did. I'll have to look into the box score there. Minicucci, like, just destroyed through the air in that one for Delaware. I don't know how they lost that game the way that they did. I don't know. Turnovers maybe. And then I thought UTEP Sam Houston would be a lower scoring game, like just ugliness, but it was not. So I don't know what happened in those games. Tulsa and East Carolina, though, and this is a pretty ugly game, too. This whatever this is, an American Conference matchup here. East Carolina sitting at 3-3. They're somewhat battle tested. I mean, they actually played pretty well against North Carolina State and Tulane, both on the road. They beat Army, who's not terrible, and they lost to BYU at home in what I thought was a bad spot for BYU, so that wasn't a good showing from East Carolina. But last time out, they played really well against Tulane, and they were actually winning in the fourth quarter in this game at Tulane. They were 6.5-point underdogs, 7-point underdogs. It was a big game, man. Tulane's been really good this year. Tulane with Jake Retzlaff, who BYU kicked him out because he had sex on campus, which you can't do. And now he's lighting it up for Tulane. So BYU with their stupid rules, making their football program worse. But East Carolina played well in this game, man. I mean, they were winning in the fourth quarter. They fell behind. They tied the game again with 5:48 to go, and then they lost on a touchdown right at the end. Brutal way to lose that game. So, you know, I talk about that when you're an underdog in a big game like that, and you lose in that fashion. Sometimes it is difficult for you to get back up off the mat, and that was another isolated Thursday game that I think was on ESPN or one of the ESPN family probably. This game tonight's on ESPN as well. So I think it's a tough spot for East Carolina to bounce back from that. That was a big game for them. They almost pulled off that upset. Now they have to face this Tulsa team that really, I think East Carolina's owned Tulsa over the last few years. Tulsa has not been a very good program. Tulsa coming into this game, actually coming out of a bye. They haven't played since Saturday the 4th, so they had a bye, and now they're playing. So I think it's a much, much better scheduling spot for Tulsa here. Tulsa, they went into that bye on 2 losses, including one to Tulane, by the way. So I think the public's going to look at this and say, oh, well, Tulsa got blown out by Tulane by 17. East Carolina almost beat Tulane. So, of course, East Carolina's the better team. And, yeah, they are. But I just don't love the spot, man. Tulsa lost to Memphis after that. Memphis is a pretty good team. But Tulsa lost to them in an absolute blowout. So I think that's a good time to have a bye. When you've lost 4 of your last 5 games, you've lost 2 in a row, you go into the bye on a total blowout loss. I think the bye is helpful, and I think you're going to use that bye to fix some shit. So, yeah, I lean to Tulsa in this one, plus the points. The money seems like it's coming on East Carolina. I don't agree with that. They're up from 15.5 to 16.5. It looks like you might be able to get 17 on Tulsa if you like it. I'm not going to give it out as a play, but it's actually, I was considering it. It's somewhat close, man. I mean, East Carolina, yeah, I mean, I think they're Yeah, like, I don't know what else to say about this. But yeah, they're in a bad spot coming off that. I think they're in a hangover spot coming off that big game. Tulsa coming out of an advantageous bye. So I think the scheduling setup is pretty nice for Tulsa. 63% of tickets, 69% of the cash coming in on East Carolina. But again, I don't agree with that. I would take the points with Tulsa, especially if you can get 17 on this, the key number. And the total is at 53.5, moving towards the over a little bit. 58% of tickets on the over. 62% of cash on the over. I somewhat disagree with that. I mean, Tulsa, they're really ugly offensively, and they're actually not that bad defensively. And East Carolina is fairly one-dimensional offensively. They mostly just throw the football. So I could see it being more of an ugly, lower-scoring game, actually, which I think could kind of help the underdog in the game as well. I think Tulsa as an underdog, I think, is correlated to the under in that one, which usually a big underdog will be correlated to the under because it means the points are worth more. So those are my opinions there. I would lean to, I would lean to Tulsa on that one. And then we do have NFL, which this game has been really difficult for me to read. Steelers, Bengals here. We have an AFC North divisional matchup here. And if Pittsburgh wins this game with Cincinnati being in second place behind them, Pittsburgh is going to have a dominant lead in this division. Both teams are going to show up. You know that. And we have the crazy battle of the olds quarterback-wise with Aaron Rodgers, who I think is 42, and Joe Flacco is 40. I mean, this is a ridiculous quarterback matchup here. But Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he showed some vintage Rodgers last week. He actually had some nice passes. One of his touchdown passes was a really tight, like threading the needle type of throw. Rodgers looks pretty good still, man, for how old he is. I mean, he looks really good. The Steelers, yeah, I do think they've overperformed so far, though, of course. I mean, nobody expected them to be 4-1. I don't think they're as good as this 4-1 record. I mean, Rodgers is not putting up like crazy numbers or anything, but they're playing Mike Tomlin football, man. They're not making a ton of mistakes. They're winning football games, and that's what they're doing. And their offense has been somewhat balanced. Jaylen Warren came back, which is not good for me because I've gained well on my fantasy team, and he's not going to gain as well with Warren back in there. But Pittsburgh, I thought they were in a bad spot last week, even though they were coming out of a bye. I didn't like it because I thought they were going to be looking ahead with this quick turnaround time, and I thought they were coming off kind of a big win in the London game. They took care of business. They beat Cleveland. That was a close game, actually, at halftime. That was only 9-3. So it was looking like one of those ugly games where the underdog is probably going to cover. But then Pittsburgh was able to score 2 late touchdowns to push that number and win the game. I think the game statistically might have been a little bit closer than the score looked. Let me see. I mean, not really, I guess. Somewhat, maybe. Pittsburgh outgained Cleveland by, I think, a little bit less than 100 yards, but they really held Cleveland's offense down. But it was an easy game for Pittsburgh, so I do think Pittsburgh is going to show up in this game because, I mean, that wasn't a big game for them against Cleveland. They always beat Cleveland at home, so I think it was just kind of going through the motions a little bit. You get the job done. And now this is a bigger game here, in my opinion, although Green Bay is going to be a big game up next, too, because that's Aaron Rodgers returning to his former home there, which I don't know if he's done, actually, since he left Green Bay. Because he probably hasn't, because he's been in the AFC, and they don't usually go to Green Bay, and he was hurt for an entire season. So it is actually probably Aaron Rodgers' return there, so it is kind of a big game for him coming up next. But this is a big game too, man. Pittsburgh wants to seal the division. Cincinnati, of course, wants to do anything to try to stay in the division at this point. As they've lost 4 games in a row now. They've lost every game without Burrow. They actually played pretty well in their last game against Green Bay. Green Bay did have chances to cover that, though. Green Bay was winning that game 24-10, I think, in the fourth quarter, and then just pretty much didn't score again. They actually let Cincinnati cut it to 24-18. Near the end, I think, even though I think the Bengals did kind of dominate this game. Yeah, 409 to 268 yardage-wise. Not the Bengals, the Packers, excuse me. The Packers dominated the yardage, excuse me. So the Packers probably could have won this game more easily than they did, but Cincinnati put up a nice performance, man, and kind of hung in this game, which sometimes you want to go against a team when they do that. Like when they play really well as a big underdog. They were a double-digit underdog in that game. They were within 1 score late in that game. So sometimes you get a little bit hung over after that, which may be the case here, even though I know, of course, Cincinnati's going to show up. It's a huge divisional game. And usually the home team has a little bit of an edge on the short turnaround time, But when it's a divisional matchup, the home team has less of an advantage because, of course, the team that's facing them is used to going there, right? Like Pittsburgh goes to Cincinnati every year. The coaches are always like pretty familiar with each other. You know, the teams know how to defend each other. So on these short turnaround times, it's easier for the road team to prepare for it if they're a divisional road team. And it's easier for the divisional teams to prepare for each other in general because they know each other. So the defense can be prepped a little bit more easily. Interestingly, even though Pittsburgh is a favorite, the money came in on the Pittsburgh side, and I actually think it's legit. They went up from 4 to 5.5 like right away, and because that's not a key number, I actually think that was actual money coming in on the Steelers side. Like, it's not like a false move, I don't think, because like it's nowhere near a key number really. So like, what do you like? I mean, unless you think the professionals wanted to slam that up to 4.5 just to come back in on the Bengals. I mean, maybe, but usually you'll only see something like that around like 3 and 7, which this is not. It's kind of in the dead number range. So I think it was a legit move on the Steelers, actually. I think the Bengals might be in a little bit of a tougher spot to turn around and play another huge effort game like that. We don't know how good Joe Flacco really is. He was decent last week, but he wasn't like setting the world on fire or anything. But they played a really good game as a big underdog. Now they have to put in that effort again where they're kind of mismatched here. 54% of tickets and cash on the Bengals. They almost look like a public home underdog, which is really ridiculous. Usually I would look to a home underdog in a spot like this, right? Like it's prime time, it's divisional, it's early in the season, although it's not as early in the season anymore. Bread and butter is usually looked to the home underdog, but I actually think this spot might actually be a spot to not take the home underdog. Yes, that's true. That is a good point. Tomlin has a terrible Thursday night record. You're correct about that. He has never won a divisional game on Thursday night. I believe that is correct. I know he's really bad on Thursday night, so that is something to keep in mind here. So, like, why would you lay points with them on the road? But in this case, the market is saying to do it, and I think the spot is actually a little bit better for the Steelers, so I lean that way. I'm going to put my Thursday night record on the line here with that. You know, I haven't been wrong about a Thursday night spread this entire season so far. I was really good on Thursday night last year too. I think it took me until like week 7 or 8 to lose one. I know this is week 7 now, so maybe it'll happen. I didn't get one wrong until I think week 7 or 8 last year. I don't think it was week 8. Well, I don't know. One of those weeks was my win on the Rams because I remember I was at Bro Grove 2 because we were watching that game with Top Lobster's father for a bit, the Rams against the Vikings. I remember that was one of my plays. I won some money on that game that night. Yeah, but I think it was a legit move on the Steelers, so I'm gonna agree with it. Just generally, I think they are the better team. They have the better quarterback. Like at this point, even though I know he's the older quarterback, he's just in better form. I mean, there was a reason why the Browns were just okay with letting Flacco go. I mean, part of it is that he's not like part of their future plans. And the Bengals just needed a quarterback right now. So it's kind of a mutually beneficial type of situation. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the Bengals, they've been really, really bad since losing Joe Burrow. It just seems like kind of the wheels just fell off. So, yeah, I mean, that's my opinion on the game. I'll lean slightly to the Steelers, even though it sounds ridiculous with Mike Tomlin there, with it being a road favorite like this. But it is, again, easier for the road team to do this on a short week on Thursday where they're used to going to that venue. It's a very short travel spot going from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati, so they're definitely used to it. And they are the better team, even though I think Pittsburgh is kind of overvalued. I'm not giving it out as a play, obviously. There's no way. But I think Pittsburgh, yeah, even though they're a little bit overvalued probably because of their hot start to the season, yeah, I mean, I think this particular matchup, everybody just kind of sees it as, oh, well, now Cincinnati has a decent quarterback with Joe Flacco. This is like a divisional battle where these teams like always battle each other. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case in this one. So those are my thoughts on that. My only play today, once again, is Winnipeg, minus 135. I do like Tulsa, plus the 17 in the college football game too. That would be close to a play for me. And then, as I mentioned in hockey, there was one other one that was very close. What was it? I like Edmonton quite a bit in hockey, man. So there's that one as well. And then what was the other one that I don't know? I think that was the main one that I was looking at there. Yeah, Edmonton would have been the big one, I think, as far as that's concerned. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. Yeah. Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, man. Better Off Dead. Let's get these numbers going. We're on audio as well. Reviews help me out there. Listen and review on Apple and Spotify. That helps me out. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel where I'm starting to hook it up in StreamYard, so I got to start doing some like request hours there. Yeah, I mean, I keep saying I'm going to do it. I got to start doing that. And then patreon.com/LearnToToad. I got to keep that up to date too, I know. There's a Uke feed there for Patreons and prioritize requests as well. So that's about it. And then I will be recording with Jose. I believe tonight we're starting a new series for starting a new book in our reading series, although it's more of a pamphlet. We're going to do Rothbard Anatomy of the State, which I've read multiple times before, but we'll do it on the show. It'll probably be like a few episodes, and we'll get that one done. So that's starting. I think we're recording that tonight, and then Patreons of Jose, No Way Jose, get that first, and then I believe he releases the episodes to the public like a week later or something. But that's going to do it, man. Learn to Toad everywhere. Jeffrey, thanks for hanging out. You're the only one. I appreciate it, man. You keep coming back. Even though I'm a total asshole, I'm a retard. This show is retarded. I don't know why you like it so much, but thank you, man. Mr. Thursday Night. Yeah, you can call me that, I guess. Yeah, and Steve Merrill, one of the handicappers on Wager Talk, he's actually really good in the Thursday night games as well. He's been really good again. For some reason, he's been really good in the Thursday night games. He does like videos on every single one of them. I'm good on the Thursday night games as well. I think more often than not, I do agree with him, but sometimes I don't. I think in this game, he might have given out an opinion on the total instead of the side. I don't remember what his opinion was on it, but that video's public. It's up there somewhere on Wager Talk, which has a lot of good information up there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, and I think he gave up one other total earlier this season, but I think it was a game where he actually gave out a total and a side and got them both right. So I think he's undefeated on his Thursday night opinions as well. Unfortunately for me, I've only made one of them a bet, the Dallas Cowboys plus the points in week 1, which was a winner. But we'll see, man. I'm sure there's going to be another Thursday night play that I'm going to give out at some point. But we'll be back tomorrow. I think there's one game that I like quite a bit on the college football board tomorrow, so I might have a college football play tomorrow night to kick off the college football weekend. I'll have at least a few on Saturday, and obviously NFL will continue on Sunday. We got a couple of plays on the NFL card as well. We will, so stay tuned for that. Obviously tomorrow night we'll have the college football show. Be back tomorrow morning to talk about whatever's going on with the Friday slate, which I think is a bit of a light card, but I think there were probably like 5 college football games tomorrow, though, so have to dig into that. Be back tomorrow, man. Peace for now.